thank you very much, and I'm gonna be brief. But I just wanted to first, thank the SBA for their leadership in putting this on. Thank Brian for hosting it, in particular President Makeley. And this facility here was mentioned a couple of times, but I actually leaned over to the speaker, looking around the room, and I said, as beautiful as it is, we look like we have luxury boxes here on the outside. It's not a bad way to start the first week as a senator, Senator 70, sitting in a almost luxury box here at this fine facility. But I'd like to just recognize not only Senator 70, but also some of the other members. On behalf of Senate President Paiboid and leaders Ruggiero and Algier, Senator Miller, who is here, Senator Raptakis, both of whom are small business people themselves. I believe Senator Paolino, Thomas Paolino was here earlier, as well as Senators Quezada and Coyne. We also have Marie Ganem from our Policy Office and Deputy Chief of Staff, as well as Kat Perez from the Policy Office. A lot of the things that were discussed earlier and some of the accomplishments that have taken place over the last several years are really results of the input, not just in settings like this, but folks like yourselves, folks that are on the front lines every day, trying to figure out a way to make it, a way to make it better, a way to make it more efficiently. And I think by and large we've listened, and I think we've acted. And what I always say to folks is that no one should assume that because the 113 of us that are in the General Assembly and government in general knows everything there is to know about everything. Last week I had a gentleman in my office, just to give you an example, who holds a master's license in refrigeration and HVAC, and he bought a metal fabrication company. Now he's been in business for 30 some odd years in his HVAC operation, and now he's required to go and sit for 8 hours at the contractor registration board because he's assuming that contractor's registration license. Well, someone like him who's been in business and has a master's license in a trade for 30 years should be exempt from having to do that, which is actually going to be one of the pieces of legislation that I asked to get drafted already for folks that have those licenses to not have to, in effect, waste a day's work to sit and listen to what they were already examined on and passed. So those are the kinds of things that, had it not been just a random conversation with him, I certainly would have had no clue that this existed, that there was this disconnect that I think most would agree probably doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense. So I think what you can expect from the Senate is what you've seen in the past. We're willing to listen. We're willing to certainly think outside the box and to act in those things that just make sense to continue to move Rhode Island forward in partnership with the House and in partnership with the administration. We're all in this together. And the one thing I just wanted to mention, and the treasurer mentioned and stole a little bit of the thunder, but what I'd like to incorporate and will be our part of our position in the whole process, specifically in the Senate Finance Committee, is to continue to be bold, continue to think outside the box, continue to address some of the things that that we've talked about in terms of removing burdens, some of the tax burdens, but also given the uncertainty in Washington, not knowing what to expect tomorrow even. I think whatever it is that we're going to do and be bold with, we at the same time need to prepare ourselves and have in place Plan B and contingencies if we do get blindsided with surprises that no one was expecting. I think that's incredibly important, because one of the things that we have, both the Senate and the House, and especially in the budget process, have really, I think, prided ourselves on during the last number of years that I can remember, is always looking at the 5-year consequence of whatever it is that we were going to do, the 5-year outlook, and try to, at the same time, focus on what's really important to business people and small business people in particular, and that's predictability. And the dynamic, unfortunately, that I think we're in is that we are taking the steps to try to be and promote policies that are as predictable as possible, with what's in our control, but yet we've got this unpredictability in Washington and what may come our way. And so I think from our perspective, that's going to be a priority as we continue to discuss and we continue to talk, we continue to promote and pass policies and legislations that are going to support, what we need to happen. We also need to be responsible and prepare for the unexpected that may come. But to all of you, thank you for what you do. Thank you for your participation, your time and attention, and also, and lastly, please continue to give us your input, your suggestions, and your experiences in finding better ways to do things. So thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.